Some action movies are like a shotgun blast to the damn face, leaving little to the imagination, like Sylvester Stallone's First Blood. Others, like Saving Private Ryan, are real pieces of cinema art. Welcome back to FilmShack. Today, we prepared for you the best action movies of all time. Number 10. The French Connection.
All winter long, I gotta listen to him gripe about his bowling scores. Now, I'm gonna bust your ass for those 3 bags, and I'm gonna nail you for picking your feet in Poughkeepsie.
Two tough NYC police detectives, Popeye Doyle, Gene Hackman, and Buddy Russo, Roy Schneider, stumble upon a gigantic heroin smuggling ring that connects the New York Mafia to Marseille, France. They discover who the French Connection is, a suave gentleman named Alain Charnier, Fernando Rey, who manages to elude Doyle and Russo's pursuit. But when one of Charnier's hitmen tries to murder Doyle, Doyle goes above and beyond traditional law enforcement techniques, determined to stop Charnier and shut down his heroin operation. Gene Hackman and Roy Schneider are unforgettable as cop partners, using pretty much any means necessary to stop a large shipment of heroin from coming into New York City from France. The action is unrelenting, and the car chase scene alone is a masterpiece in filmmaking. The French Connection set the standard for cop-themed dramas for decades to come, and it's easy to see why. The dialogue, action, and story combine to create a dark, gritty, and cynical masterwork from director William Friedkin. As perfect an example as any of the dark brilliance of so many great 1970s-era urban-themed films. Number 9. The Raid 2. Just moments after the end of The Raid Redemption, rookie cop Rama, Iko Uwais, is asked to go undercover in prison and befriend Uko, Afram Putra, the son of the boss of the biggest crime family in Indonesia. So, Rama saves Uko from potential assassination, and upon their release, he finds himself working for the feared, respected gangster Bangun, Tio Pakusadewo. Unfortunately, the volatile Uko wants to move up in the ranks and grows impatient with his father's caution, so he teams up with a rival family and plans a hostile takeover, which involves the murder of a trusted associate. Of course, everything goes haywire, and Rama finds himself in the battle of his life, fighting deadly killers from all over the city. So many scenes in The Raid 2 are worthy of applause and gratitude, not just for being watchable, but for being incredibly inventive and potent, as well as incredibly violent, of course. Miraculously, Welsh-born director Gareth Evans seems to be the first filmmaker in ages who knows how to choreograph and shoot a martial arts fight scene, emphasizing movement, space, and clarity, rather than turning in a cluttered jumble of shaky, quickly cut mush. Number 8. First Blood.
What the hell's going on?
First Blood introduced John Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, a cross between G.I. Joe and Tarzan, and an icon of American film in the 1980s. We see him first as a shaggy-haired drifter trying to visit an old platoon comrade in rural Washington state, where he learns that the man, his last surviving friend, has died of Agent Orange-related cancer. The downcast Rambo is subsequently cited by bullying local cops and is harassed and arrested for vagrancy. When the small-town lawmen brutalize him in the town jail, flashbacks to Rambo's wartime torture by Viet Cong push the well-trained Green Beret back into full combat mode and instincts. Escaping into the wilderness, he fights using guerrilla weapons and tactics. Ultimately, he makes a one-man war on the entire town, with captured National Guard firepower. This 80s classic is a crude but often effective actioner, even if its worthwhile themes about the country's treatment of its soldiers kind of get lost in the fiery mayhem, and the now classic pose of the Rocky leading man brandishing enormous rifles and bandoliers. Number 7. The Dark Knight.
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're gonna break your one rule. I'm considering it.
Following 2005's Batman Begins, The Dark Knight continues the adventures of billionaire Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale, who poses as a playboy in public, and in private takes to the streets as the costumed vigilante Batman, working to clean up the beleaguered city of Gotham. This time around, Batman has allies, including the up-and-coming District Attorney Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart, whose own crusade to stop Gotham's gangs and organized crime families is almost as effective as Batman's, and, more importantly, carried out with the letter of the law. Weary and battered, Wayne is eager to help Dent so that he can retire Batman's shadowy efforts, but the arrival of a new player, the giddy and grim anarchist known as the Joker, Heath Ledger, tosses a very wild card into the game. Big, bold, and bruising. This is a prime example of how a high-budget, high-profile comic book sequel can still be an actual movie. Well-made, exciting, invested, and engaging. Number 6. Mission Impossible Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout is a direct sequel to its predecessor, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. The villain from that movie, Solomon Lane, Sean Harris, looms large over this one, as super spy Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, races against the clock to stop Lane's followers from acquiring and detonating nuclear weapons. Hunt is helped/hindered by CIA bruiser August Walker, Henry Cavill, and enigmatic British agent Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson, who also appeared in Rogue Nation. This may well be the best Mission Impossible movie yet. Mission Impossible Fallout steps up the action, as impossible a mission as that might sound, and the stakes, with the personal screws tightened on Hunt and horrible consequences for failure. Though spy movie watchers will expect the requisite twists, betrayals, and MacGuffins, writer-director Christopher McQuarrie's compelling filmmaking grabs your attention and doesn't let go. Fallout delivers the death-defying stunts the series demands, the execution of, for example, the series' best car chase. Really, a car/motorcycle chase is so expertly done that you're less aware of the slickness than the jeopardy. Fallout also has the best fight of the series thus far. Hint, it takes place in a bathroom. It's exciting and visceral, with real emotional impact. Cruise's performance is lean and focused, and hopefully Ferguson is now a fixture in the series. She can act and fight. It's also fun to see Superman, Cavill, brawling like an utter brute. Number 5. Raiders of the Lost Ark. After a heroic jungle rescue to the start of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, forks over a valuable relic to dastardly French archaeologist Belloc, Paul Freeman, under threat of death by a band of spear-wielding natives. Indy is then sent by the US military to outdo the Nazis in a race to find a secret resting place of the Ark of the Covenant, which purportedly contains the remains of the 10 Commandments. He reconnects with former girlfriend Marion, Karen Allen, and they end up in Cairo, where they battle a manner of thugs, Nazi and otherwise, as they search for the Ark. When director Steven Spielberg and writer-producer George Lucas set out to recreate the serial adventure movie of the 1940s, they forged a masterwork of action-adventure. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark includes what may be the best opening 10 minutes in movie history. The key to the movie's success is Ford's Indiana Jones, archaeology professor and grand adventurer who seems perfectly at home as both a mild-mannered Clark Kent type, right down to the glasses, and a larger-than-life hero. Ford played a similar character in Star Wars, but here, he's front and center. With Raiders, Ford established himself as one of the greatest action-adventure heroes of all time. Number 4. Mad Max: Fury Road. In a post-apocalyptic future, the evil, Immortan Joe rules the land by controlling water and gasoline. His trusted soldier, Furiosa, Charlize Theron, heads out for a routine supply run, then suddenly goes east. It turns out that she has betrayed him by rescuing several of Joe's wives, whom he keeps for breeding purposes. Meanwhile, Max, Tom Hardy, who has been taken prisoner, escapes and finds that Furiosa's battle-ready truck is his only means of escape. He soon joins her cause, and another of Joe's men, the disillusioned Nux, Nicholas Hoult, also helps. Reaching Furiosa's homeland reveals that the chase still isn't over. The band of heroes must go straight back into the lion's den. The sheer limitless invention behind this movie's exhilarating, preposterous chase scenes highlights action filmmaking at its finest. Amid the roar of speeding machines, though, director George Miller also plays with subtler themes, as in his 1987 comedy The Witches of Eastwick. Miller seems interested in women and motherhood, but in an unusual way, as in the scene in which Max uses mother's milk to wash blood from his face. Perhaps the movie's key theme, stems from the way Max seems even madder this time around, hearing victims' voices in his head. In Mad Max Fury Road, violence is ultimately linked to madness. Number 3. Saving Private Ryan.
What are you guys? 104th Medical Battalion, sir! Here to set up field operations! Get rid of that crap! Grab yourself some weapons! Follow me!
Saving Private Ryan opens with a harrowing, blood-soaked depiction of the World War II Allied invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. Countless young men are cut down, turning the ocean red. When the smoke clears from the worst D-Day, we meet the characters. Captain Miller, Tom Hanks, gets orders to lead his platoon into a dangerous zone swarming with Germans to find a low-ranking soldier named James Ryan. Ryan was one of several brothers who went to war, and all the others are now dead. The US top brass believes the Ryan family has suffered enough and that their remaining son should be brought home safely. While it's a mission of mercy, it's going to cause the Americans even more danger and death, with no perceptible strategic goal. The prologue and epilogue are set in a present-day cemetery, with acres and acres of graves to mark the dead, and it pretty much asks the viewer what the soldiers ask themselves, if rescuing one man was worth all this carnage. The opening D-Day scene is not exploitation, but rather a master filmmaker's true-life recreation of one of the bloodiest battles in human history, to make one appreciate the bravery and the loss. Star director Steven Spielberg, who sought the input of war historians and survivors to make Saving Private Ryan as authentic as possible, tries to show the viewer, after decades of restrained and bloodless Hollywood backplot war movies, propaganda flag wavers, and fluffy World War II film musicals, that war is a terrible thing. Even the good war, to smash the undeniable axis of evil that was Germany and Japan. Number 2. Die Hard. New York police officer John McClane, Bruce Willis, hoped to spend a little Christmas celebration with his estranged wife and children in Los Angeles. But what he got instead was a bone-crushing, foot-cutting, guns-blaring battle to the death with a band of German terrorists. Set to raid highly secure vaults with a high-tech, high-powered ambush, Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, and his posse hijack his wife's company Christmas party. Despite the help of the LAPD and FBI, McClane must scrap his way through the melee, free the hostages, and in the process repair his troubled marriage. Although the film is quite entertaining, some might find the stereotypes dated and offensive. The Cold War film takes full advantage of German stereotypes, with its gigantic, creepy Aryan villains. After the mega-hit success of this film, Bruce Willis, known mainly at this point for his work on television's Moonlighting, was reborn as a bona fide action star. Some excellent supporting actors deserve kudos, along with Willis and the film's special effects. Number 1. Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Continuing the story from the first film, Terminator 2: Judgment Day finds the Terminator, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, sent back in time from the future again, but this time switching sides to become the protector of the human race's future hope, John Connor, Edward Furlong. Meanwhile, Connor's mother Sarah, Linda Hamilton, who tries to spread the knowledge of an apocalyptic future that she acquired in the first film, is deemed insane and confined to an institution. The action is almost non-stop, with shopping mall shootouts, truck/motorcycle chases, and various other action set pieces saturating the film. This is the film that made CGI effects seem palatable, and as such can be considered a promulgator of all subsequent big-budget action effects movies. Its greatest technical achievement is the shape-shifting T-1000 character, who pursues John Connor and makes it necessary for the Terminator to act as protector. Though he plays the character with the same steely stoicism as the original, Schwarzenegger obviously relishes the chance to be the good guy in this one, and the script provides him with plenty of silly one-liners to provide the otherwise dark film with some levity. We would like to invite you to share your opinion with us. Do you agree with our list? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications bell. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!